Hey guys, so this is another one of my pieces that I am going to be outlining. So let's get started. This piece is based off a song called Even So Come, and it was inspired by the IHOP live stream. I watched it at home. IHOP is International House of Prayer. There's a university there, and it's in Kansas City. You guys can look it up. They have their own website talking about like the university courses and stuff like that. And IHOP is really, really good. And if you go there for university, you really learn more about God and the Bible and everything. I had a friend, she's part of leading the youth group and university and college group that I am in currently because my age. So I'm in university and college group, and she left for like an entire year to go study there with her husband, and it was it was a good experience. She talked about it a lot, and she said it's a good experience. I think her husband was even like, oh, you guys should go study there. And they do have diplomas for different things, for different sections, but they also have a bunch of like courses that are based around God and the Bible. So yeah, it's definitely a good place to go and study, but it costs money, and also because it's only in Kansas City, so I would have to live on residence if I ever went, so I don't know. But you can join their gatherings, like their yearly gatherings and stuff like that. I think they're also holding one thing there, which is this big Christian gathering that always happens, and they're holding it in like the beginning of December, so don't know if I'll be able to go. But my dad was like, it's like it's something that he wants me and my brother to experience, but at the same time it's super far, so it's kind of like it costs so much to go there. And unfortunately, because like our church doesn't hold a lot of events, like our events are pretty small in terms of like we have an event during winter, and then we do like the gatherings in our church office for different seasonal holidays, but other like Passover, but other than that we don't really do so many events. And so the university and college group and youth group, we don't go outside as much as the young adults do, but I feel like we should all go outside and just experience stuff together instead of just the young adults going. Yeah. So this is based off a song called Even So Come, and it was a song they played in IHOP, and I was watching the live stream and I heard the song, and they were talking about, and it talks about like one of the chorus is like a bride waiting for her groom, will be a church ready for you. I'm trying to recall the entire verse. Every heart longing for our King, we sing, even so come, Lord Jesus come. Yeah, sorry, it took me a while to, because in my head, it's kind of like playing as the song, so it takes longer for me to recall the verses because I'm just like, I let it sing through my head first. It's not like I know the lyrics without the singing pace, so yeah. But it's a very nice song, and it sings about, like, basically, because we're all supposed to, as people, we're all supposed to come together as one. And we're supposed to become kind of like this, like spiritually, it's hard to explain. It's not physically, but spiritually, we're supposed to be all like together, bonded together, and we're kind of like this bride for Jesus. And basically, that's what it talks about in the Bible. And basically, we all come together. I guess it would be harder for our church. Our pastor did say it's a bit hard for like the guys to understand. It will be a bit hard for the guys to understand, like, to become a bride is like normally like a woman thing, technically speaking, but it's like in the spirit we're all supposed to be this one bride for Jesus, and that's what it is. And so basically I drew this bride with like this veil behind her, and she has wings. The cross on the face, I know some people draw like for sketching faces out, they put this cross thing so that way they can get the eyes and all the proportions right. But actually, I've been really into drawing, like when it comes to Christian artwork, if I'm drawing blank people that are supposed to represent either children of God or like and stuff like that, I usually like to draw the cross on the face. It's so that way I don't draw a cross anywhere else, but it kind of like symbolizes that. And I drew wings. Yeah. So, yeah. And she's holding like a bouquet of flowers. It was hard because I didn't want to draw the hands, and I wanted the hands to be covered by the bouquet, and it's like, how's that gonna work? And then I just drew like 3 big flowers. So it kind of worked. Doesn't look as great, but it's okay. And it has this crown with a cross on it. I decided I'm not going to not going to outline the crown, but I will outline the veil. Originally, I was thinking maybe drawing a veil above the face instead of behind. But instead, I chose to do this. I guess because the song goes, we're basically like a bride waiting for her groom. So I wanted to do something like we're a church together and we're waiting for God to come, like this. So, yeah. This has to be one of the hardest drawings to explain out of like all the drawings I have made, because it's hard to understand if like it's harder to understand if you haven't really been to church much, or like you haven't heard people talking about this subject, like if they're Christian and stuff. And it can be very confusing, and it's more of a spiritual level type of thing that and it's hard to talk about because you don't really know how to explain much. So yeah, but I'm trying. And that's why, like, in the IHOP meeting, they were like singing like "Let two become one" because we're not just like this one person. It's kind of like, think about marriage. Spiritually, when you get married, you become in sync. Like, you become, like, you can't think of yourself as just two people, but you have to think of yourself as one person, as in you take care of the person like you take care of your partner the way you would take care of yourself. For example, you trust that that person is going to pray for you and take care of and also watch over you and care about your health and well-being, even though you don't see them doing it all the time, but you trust that they will, and also they are trusting you that you will. So in a sense, it's kind of like that. Like, there's this trust and this bond spiritually that you're together. And also, another kind of example would be like, the pastors explained, like, there's this Bible verse that said it's kind of like you become what you behold, like what you look at so much. It's not just looking, but I think spiritually you're very, very connected to that person. And so a lot of the times partners, like my pastors, they look similar, and sometimes people will mistaken them for siblings because actually what happened is the wife of the pastor, her eyes became smaller after spending so much time with the pastor. And basically, it's this thing that God has done, like spiritually, if you're so connected in this way, like some features physically will change and you two will look similar. So some people will mistaken like husband and wife for sibling, and they will look exactly like each other, almost like each other, or look like they're related, but they're not related like genetically or by blood, but they're related spiritually in this way. So it's kind of like that. That's another example. So letting two become one, you both become together, and you kind of have to treat each other like this. Like, you can't treat each other as two, but you can't treat each other as one person, but you have to like be in sync, but you're so in sync with the other person, it's kind of like you're one person. So yeah. What else? Also, I think it has to do with like spiritual ties too. Like, if you're spiritual ties can be good or bad. For example, say for example you have a spiritual tie with someone and it's unhealthy. Like it's kind of like maybe your attitude or how you're thinking about them is making this unhealthy spiritual tie, and you're kind of just tied. But it's not unhealthy if it's like, say for example, I guess it depends on whether or not God is saying that spiritual tie is supposed to be there or not. But it's so easy to make spiritual ties with people. Like, I've made spiritual ties with my friends without even knowing. And they're my friends from church. And basically, depending on like what the situation is and what type of tie it is, it's either healthy or unhealthy. Like, say for example, you did something with your past boyfriend or girlfriend, and then you thought it was okay to do, but it's not biblical or it's not healthy to do, but you thought it was okay to do with that person. And say, for example, you date someone else after that person leaves you. Then your spiritual tie with that person is unhealthy because with that previous person was unhealthy because you thought it was okay to do certain things that aren't biblical or aren't healthy. So what happens is you gotta so what happens is normally for those types of spiritual ties, they're bad. So you have to pray that God removes any spiritual ties with the previous person because you don't want to do the same type of actions or things with the new person that you're going to date. So there's those types of spiritual ties that are bad, and then good spiritual ties would be, I guess if you cared about someone as family and you treated them as family, and that's what God wants us to do. In a way, we're willing to sacrifice our lives for other people in the church. Like, say for example, I don't want to say extreme cases where there's death involved, but I think if, say for example, you give up something so that way other people will be okay, then that's a good spiritual tie because you're kind of okay, these are the people that I'm bonded with spiritually, but I have to give up something so that way them coming closer to God will be better. So that. It's hard to explain all of this, but I'm gonna stop talking about it because it's getting overly complicated. But yeah. But basically, what I drew is bride for Jesus, which is basically supposed to be all of us bonded as one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, check down in the description box below. All my social media is there. Go like and follow that so that way you can see the process. All my process work for this drawing will be posted on there too. And also check out my drawings playlist or my other playlist if you want to see other videos that I have done, that I have made in the past. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye!